84. Also produces most of his movies, right? Okay, so here's my question to you guys. What do they all have in common?
Plastic surgeon.
Money? Plastic surgeon? What else? There's no wrong answers here, I guarantee you. So, what was that?
Lots of money.
Lots of money. Buku bucks. Okay, what else? They love what they're doing, right? They found something they're passionate about. What else?
Well, they all have wrinkles.
They all have wrinkles. I think Sophia has the least, right? But yes, they all have wrinkles. What else? What else?
How about 3 wives?
At least, yes. What else? What do we all have in common?
Good medical care.
What was that?
Good medical.
Good medical care, I'm sure. What else? What else? What else? Thank you. They're all still working, right? They're all still working. And I'll tell you what, I'll go to watch a movie because one of them is in the movie. I couldn't care less about the storyline. I know it's going to be a good movie because they only make or participate in good movies, right? Now, can you imagine, here we are in 2000, I'm sorry?
Warren doesn't. Warren Buffett, he doesn't make movies.
Not full time anymore.
He's too
But
busy making money.
he's still calling the shots, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So now, let's take the actors here, right? It's 2022. Can you imagine how many young guns are lining up behind them for that starring role, right? The lead role? These people are one hell of an accomplishment, each in his own right, right? But those characteristics are all correct. And you know, somebody said they love what they do, they're passionate about it, and then they're still working, they're still in movement, right? They still have a purpose, right? They have a purpose. So, great man, great quote. A rising tide lifts all boats. Now, let me show you something here. Hopefully this will work the way we want it to.
Time in history that we're going to have more people over the age of 65 than under the age of 5, and that's in human history, all of human history. It can't be overstated what the impact of that shift is going to be. We're going to have a 400% increase in every degenerative disease.
The silver tsunami, in many ways, is like smallpox. We know that it's coming. We know that there is an outbreak.
If you're on a beach and you see the water receding, you know a tsunami is coming. The biologists in aging right now think that they're like that person on the beach. They see the water receding and they see this tsunami of disaster coming with chronic diseases, costly care. I think we're at a point that we can get people off the beach before it's too late. 2011 was the year in which the baby boomers started to enter the over 65 age group.
population is expected to grow to 10 billion by the end of the century.
As populations grow older, there's another thing we need to worry about, and that's economic growth. Now, according to the ratings agency Moody's, many countries are seeing their populations aging faster than ever before.
And in terms of the impact, it's not happening at some undefined point in the future. We actually expect the impact to start being felt on growth really from now onwards.
Let's face it, none of us is getting any younger. By the year 2020, for the first time in history, adults 65 and older will outnumber children under 5. The baby boom is spawning an aging boom. Unfortunately, it hasn't spawned a boom in doctors trained to handle all the problems of aging, chronic illnesses like diabetes and Alzheimer's. We spoke with Taylor Harden of the National Institute on Aging, who said the doctors who specialize in aging, geriatricians, make up less than 2% of all physicians. Right now, there's only one geriatrician for every 5,000 older Americans. That ratio may grow to 1 per 36,000 by the year 2030.
The population of the United States and many developed countries is rapidly aging. And those born after World War II, they're called baby boomers, and they are entering into retirement.
The reason the world has experienced a population explosion over the past century is not because human beings suddenly started breeding like rabbits. It's because they finally stopped dying like flies.
The world is getting older. How much older? By 2050, the number of people over 65 will triple.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I think I put that together 7 years ago. So 2011, right? This is a monumental year in our history, human history, across the globe. Because you saw here that in 2011, the first of the baby boomers turned 65. Anybody tell me what baby boomers are? Yes. Yes. After World War II, the soldiers came back home. The economy got a wonderful boost. And what do people who haven't seen each other in a long time and who are financially improving do? They make babies. Rightfully so, right? So those babies are the baby boomers. Who in 2011 began to turn 65, right? So as the movie said, in 2011, it started 1 every 8 seconds, 10,000 a day in the U.S. This is in the U.S., okay? 4 million a year. Since 2011, it's been 11 years, right? So 44 million. So by 2030, here comes another special year, right? Over 71 million Americans above the age of 65. And we're going to, 1 in every 5 will be over 65. And for the first time in history, right here, we're going to have more adults above the age of 65 than kids younger than my son Aiden, right? Kids under the age of 5. So this is monumental. And if you see here the projections 2030, 2050 from the U.S. Census Bureau, here we have it, 60 plus. And we see the percentages going up, right? Almost exponentially. So where are we headed, right? 2022. There's a highway ahead of us, right? And I selected this slide because you see here, hindsight's always 20/20, right? But when we're moving ahead, things aren't always that clear, right? Especially when we're moving so fast that we get tunnel vision, right? Has anybody ever here ridden so fast that you get tunnel vision? No? Okay. This is what you see, and you really lose a whole heck of a lot of details. Hindsight's always 20/20. So look, so let's talk about our present reality, right? Because this is what I'm seeing and I'm sure you've seen. And the reason I'm going to put this up is because I want to show you how valuable you are. So here it is, our present reality, right? Everybody's got a cell phone, right? All kids, that's what they most want. They want a cell phone, right? And you think, okay, this is great. This is going to be, their access to information, and they're going to learn, and they're going to broaden their horizons. They're going to have their social network of friends. It all sounds really pretty, right? But how many times have we actually seen this? You're driving home, and you're like, what the heck is that? So what's the point of being afraid of a zombie apocalypse when you're already a zombie? Right? And we see this, and I've seen this, with television. I see my son, watching Blippi on TV, and I talk to him, and he's like, right? So here's another thing. So imagination. Do you remember, I was born in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and I had 2 older brothers. So, by the time Joe was born, right, we didn't have much money. So, I remember our toys ran on imagination, not on batteries, right? Nowadays we're seeing less imagination. So, how about this? Look. This is emotion, right? You can feel the joy, you can feel the warmth in the air. I always think to myself, I wonder where his hand is. So, nowadays, look, all this emotion, I'm sorry, all this emotion, what's it become? We've replaced it for these things. Anybody know what these are called? Emojis, right? Emojis. Right, by the way, can anybody tell me what this is? So, yeah, it's not poop. It's actually it's soft serve chocolate ice cream.
Really?
But we all learned it as being poop. Okay? But this is what our emotions got translated into, right? We're seeing more people communicating with each other through text message rather than picking up the phone and saying, hey, how you doing? Right? Hearing the laughter in their voice rather than them sending you something like this, or that, right? So, and how about this, right? A beautiful engagement, a couple was having some French fries and sipping on something good, and this is social interaction. This is healthy, right? About 8 years ago, I went to a sushi restaurant, and the table next to me, I couldn't help but snap a picture of. We've all seen it, right? It's beyond me. Are they communicating with each other? Maybe, right? So what else? Right, a nice couple watching TV, enjoying a good flick, right? And this is the image we have painted to us, but we don't think of this, right? People kind of just wasting away in front of the TV all day, don't get out, don't give themselves an opportunity to interact with the rest of the world, right? Get some real social human interaction, right? Staying in front of the TV, or sometimes it's the computer monitor, right? That keeps you from going out and making real flesh and blood, friends that you can talk to, you can hug, right? Now, how about this one, right? Remember, this is our present reality. looks great, happy kid, right? She's got some milk here. It's probably the only healthy thing there. She's eating a burger that came frozen. She got some fries that were, I'll get off my soapbox, but this is what we're painted. In reality, we don't see this, right? That's not a moneymaker. So, and what else do we see, right? My brother sent me this article. He's got a dental practice up in Tampa, and he sent me this one morning. He said, "You got to read this. You got to read this." And I was look at this: how to use your credit card for everything. Everything. And look, the benefits of using your credit card for everything. And they say, credit cards come with a number of perks. And look at the very bottom here. You don't get the same benefit when you use your debit card. Instead, the money will have already been deducted from your bank account. Hold on, isn't that like the concept of purchasing something? You buy it because, number one, you have money in your bank account, and that money is going to come out to purchase that item. Right? Not for you to owe MasterCard or Visa, with interest. So it's a fallacy, unfortunately, that we've been sold on. So much so that if we look here, as per the Federal Reserve, America's total credit card balance in 2022, this is last month, right? $856 billion. And credit card debt. Why? Because, people grow up reading articles like this and seeing that, right? And they don't come to the conclusion that this is the reality of things. Why am I showing all this? Because this was not present when you guys were my age. It wasn't, right? And for some of us, there might not be a big difference. I'm 45, right? But I guarantee you, when you were 45, we didn't have all this. You remember your first cell phone? I remember our first cell phone. It went to my dad. I remember the first microwave that we got in the house. Look, we didn't have all these things. We sure didn't have emojis, right? We didn't have this stuff. So what's the trajectory here? Right? Hindsight's 20/20. Hindsight is 20/20. Moving forward, it becomes a little blurry. So the reason that I'm bringing this up is this, right? This is me. Okay, so although the mismatch between old and young and the financial implications across the coming years has become a popular topic, the value of our aging population needs to be recognized and their wisdom imparted. Amen. Now, the way to achieve this goal is that good health must accompany aging. Right? That's why I said, what's my goal with quote-unquote patients or members of my practice? My goal is to optimize their health and then help them maintain it. Right? The longer I can keep them in good health, the more they're going to be able to contribute. And they have a lot more, you guys have a lot more to contribute than the younger people. More than me. So here, what are those values? Come on, let's talk about it, right? Wisdom. What is wisdom? Right? We're always looking for like a short definition. Can somebody tell me, what is wisdom?
Knowledge.
Knowledge, right?
Accumulated experiences.
Accumulated knowledge, accumulated experiences. Perfect, right? Knowing the right thing to do at the right time was also another explanation I've heard, right? Wisdom. Knowledge from experience, right? Experience comes with age, right? So leadership, come on, the greatest leaders of our planet are older. They're not the younger folk. They're not, because of maybe the knowledge or the experience, right? Or having the knowledge and knowing when to apply the knowledge. That's wisdom. Work ethic. By a show of hands, in your personal opinions, who has better work ethic, you guys or a 21-year-old? For you guys, raise your hand. Thank you. That's what I'm talking about. All right? Values. Man, values. Right. There's a difference between money and value. Big difference. Tradition. Man. America is a melting pot. It's a country like no other, in my opinion. I'm from Brazil. America is the best. It's the greatest country in the world. It still is, in my opinion, right? Because we're a melting pot. Culture, all right? So tradition and culture. If parents don't teach their children traditions and culture, they're lost, right? They're lost forever. They'll try to learn them in a history book. It's not the same. Let me give you an example. My wife is originally from Costa Rica, so she speaks Spanish. And as I mentioned, I'm from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, so I speak Portuguese. Before our son Aiden was born, we decided that my wife would only speak to him in Spanish, and I would only speak to him in Portuguese, and then we'd send him to school to learn English. So here we are, 5.5 years later, and I'll be sitting at a let's say a sushi restaurant, right? Not where that couple was before with their phones, but we're sitting at a restaurant, and I'll say something to my son in Portuguese. He'll respond in Portuguese, and then my wife will say something to him in Spanish. He'll respond in Spanish. Waitress will come over and hand him like a little menu and crayons to draw, and he'll say thank you. It's the coolest thing in the world, and it's because we've done that. Maybe I've been a bit of a pain because I always tell my wife, look, let's never break the code. Never speak anything except for Spanish or Portuguese, and we send him to school for English. So he does that. He does that with my parents when they come to visit. He speaks only Portuguese to them, right? And when my mother-in-law comes, he speaks Spanish. So it's that culture, right? Those traditions, the language that we impart, right? My parents did it for us. Legacy. Wow. So here we go, right? Grandpa and his son. Who else is going to impart those values that we just talked about, right? Wisdom, work ethic, legacy, culture, traditions. Right? Who else is going to do it? Is he going to learn it in school? He's not. He's not, right? He's not. He has to learn it from you guys. He has to. How about this? God, I used to love my grandma's hugs. So this is what you want to be able to enjoy. Right? Now, grandma, grandpa, grandson, granddaughter, right? On that movie that I put together for you guys, they drew your attention to this, right? There really is a doctor shortage. Somebody once told me that geriatricians are a dying breed. Right? I tell you they're not. They're not. Because when there is it's a supply and demand. If society and med schools have not yet grasped the concept that we are in a silver tsunami, if they haven't yet, they will, I guarantee you. Okay? Till then, I'm going to be on my soapbox. So, in reality, like, here's Dr. Winston, right, from Duke University. I met her. And she said, "Well, look, we're not prepared as a nation. We're facing a crisis. Our current health system is ill-equipped to provide the optimal care experience for patients with multiple chronic conditions or with functional limitations or disabilities. We're ill-prepared." Look, I'm an internist by trade, right? So I've had individuals come into the clinic and, 25, 30 years old, and there's really not much to treat. I'll tell you that. Now compare that, and hold on, and those individuals, 25, 30 years old, you can see them in the 15-minute time span that you're expected, right? It's actually 8 to 11 nowadays, by the way. But you can see them in 15 minutes. But for me, as an internist and geriatrician, to see an individual who's 75, 85, 95-year-olds in 8 to 11 minutes, it's barbaric. It's wrong. It's bad medicine. It's bad medicine. And I'll have no part in it. I'll have no part in it, which is why I went into private practice, okay? And I went into concierge medicine because instead of 8 to 11 minutes or 15, everyone who walks into my office has an hour follow-up. The minute they walk through that door, it's an hour. Then we have a chance to get to know each other. Then we get a chance to delve into every single issue that's going on, not just physically, right, but everything else that's going on in their lives, right? The emotional side, the cognitive side, right, and the physical, the family.
You're good now.
Thank you very much. So remember I said we're all wires up there? We really are. We're just wires. And this study by Harvard showed that if one area of the brain was being stimulated here with a piano playing, other areas actually contribute neuronal activity to fortify that spot. So we have this area being activated and then being fortified. Sorry. Right? That's what that study showed. It was a groundbreaking study. So here it is. Here's the brain. We're all just wires. Here it is. Take the individual and face them forward. Add some color, right? Awesome. And that again became the basis for neuroplasticity. What is neuroplasticity? It's your brain's ability to build bypass tracks, right? When somebody has a stroke and they land in the hospital and they're finally stabilized, yet they've lost their abilities to walk. They can't use the right leg and the right arm. What's the first thing? Where's the first place that they go to as soon as they're stabilized? They go to rehab, right? You're on that race against the clock because you want to teach the brain to create those neuronal bypasses. So the street that was like that suddenly is like this. So with cognitive rehabilitation, you have to work with this initially, but as you continue to work, the pathway defines itself. It's probably never going to be that highway again, right? But this will get you to where you want to go. And we know that because the brain will build bypass routes. So hence, cognitively engaging activity, whether it's reading a book or playing an instrument that you enjoy, right? Or writing, or playing chess, or bridge. It's cognitively engaging. You're engaging your brain. You're stimulating that area of your brain, knowing that other areas are contributing neuronal power, let's call it, to that area. Socially engaging activity. I always tell people, look, social activity is brain food. It's brain food. Why do you think individuals who are quote-unquote hermits, and they just don't like to go out, they don't like to mingle, they just want to be by themselves all the time, do you know that those individuals have a much higher incidence of developing cognitive impairments? Now, do you understand why? Because they're depriving their brain of that stimulation. They're socially malnourished. You don't have to be a socialite. It's just that engaging conversation with somebody, maybe a stranger, right? So socially engaging activity, whether it's mahjong or bridge or blackjack or poker, whatever your fancy is, it's social activity. And you know what? It's cognitive as well. Social activity. I always wonder, who told the joke? I think it was this one over here. The one in the middle, right? Yeah. So, third, physically engaging activity. I like this one, all right? Because, okay, why is exercise so good for you? Why, there's no wrong answers. What was that? Keeps your joints lubricated. Yes. What else? What else? What else? Keeps your spirits up. Yes. The endorphins, right? The feel-good hormones, right? What else? What other reasons? Why is the exercise good for you? Keeps your mind active. Yes. What else? Keeps oxygen going to your brain and your entire body, right? What else? What else? Why is exercise good for you?
Cardiovascular health.
Thank you. Cardiovascular health. Absolutely. So I've taken some of the most common responses and I listed them here, right? And you'll see that there's definitely a common trend. Good for your body, circulates more blood to your brain, releases those feel-good hormones, keeps your joints moving, lubricated, keeps me socially involved, helps me to relax, and helps me to stay healthy, right? And this is these are the most common responses, right? And most of them are exactly what you guys shared. So let me tell you what most people don't know. And we talked about this at the former lecture, right? Your immune system, right? So you can't go on Google or walk into a health food store, GNC, Vitamin Shop, without seeing marketing, right? And they all claim to boost your immunity, all of them. It's actually a multi-million-dollar business. Okay, but so look, which cells should you boost and what number? So here are the cells of our immune system. Again, I'm going to avoid medical jargon, okay? But look, attempting to boost the cells of your immune system is especially complicated because there are so many different kinds of cells, as you can see here, that respond to so many different microbes and medications in so many ways. So this is a little more reality. Look, whether it's micronutrients or vitamins, right? I'm not downplaying them. I'm really not. Please understand something, that I'm open-minded, because if something could potentially be good for you and it's not going to hurt you, I'm all for it. I'm open-minded. Okay, but let me tell you one of the major reasons why exercise is good for you, and this is what most people don't know, right? We have a lymphatic system. These are the byways and the highways of our immune system. Inside the lymphatic system, you have a clear fluid called lymph. Lymph is rich in white blood cells that fight infection. These are the soldiers of your immune system. Now these soldiers, they run through these tracts. And if you'll notice something different about the lymphatic system that our circulatory system doesn't have, it's this. Look, here's our heart. Here are our arteries. And there are our veins going back to the heart. So it's fluid dynamics. We have a pump. It's causing pressure, and the pressure gradient brings the blood back to the heart. Now, our lymphatic system does not have, parts of it doesn't have that luxury. Parts of it are not closed. So there is no loop of pressure that makes it go around. So how does your lymphatic fluid that's here in your calf get all the way up here? Well, I'll show you. There are two ways. There's intrinsic contractions of the lymphatic passages, which are, for the most part, relatively weak. But the main one that I want you to see here is extrinsic compression of lymphatic vessels via external tissue forces, primarily this one, contractions of skeletal muscles. So when you move, that's how this lymph that's here will travel up there. As you walk, your muscles are contraction, and it's swishing that lymphatic fluid all the way back up. Okay, how long do you guys think that these 5 kids will be able to stay put without kicking their legs? I mean, it's a matter of seconds, right? And what do we do as adults? Stop kicking your feet. Don't do that. Please don't ever do that. That's evolution. We should be doing the same thing. They are moving their lymph around. Why do you think kids are so damn healthy? They're always in movement. Okay, look, another thing. We're mostly water, right? You guys know that, right? Large percentage of our bodies are water. Look at this. we're 60+%, our brain 73, lungs 83, skin 64, muscles 79, even your bones are 31% water. So, Foz do Iguaçu, somebody has Foz do Iguaçu on the frontier of Brazil and Argentina. So I went there on a from Rio road trip with one of my brothers, and I actually stood underneath, what was it, right here, and I let that water run down, and I remember looking straight up and drinking from it. God, it was one of the most surreal experiences I've ever had, and you know what? That water was delicious because it tasted like nothing. It was wonderful. Now, why did I bathe in it? Why did I drink it? Because it was in motion, right? It was in motion. Now, imagine taking the same waterfall and creating a dam up there and just let that water sit there, right? What's going to happen? It's microbes are going to grow in it. Bugs are going to start landing in it. It's going to start smelling bad, change into green. And I'll tell you what, pretty soon it's going to look like that, right? I couldn't pay somebody to take a bath in that, much less drink it, right? So look, how are we any different if we're mostly water, right? We're mostly water. So this is why exercise or physically engaging activity is good for you. It keeps the water moving, keeps it flowing. Okay, fourth, nutrition. Paramount, right? You are what you eat. So, look at that. We are what we eat. Time magazine. Now, here's the thing. Remember, great quote. Hold on here. Like any fighting force, the immune system army marches on its stomach, aka nutrition, right? Now, we know about micronutrient deficiencies, primarily zinc, selenium, iron, copper, all the vitamins, right? Especially the B. And they alter immune responses in animals as we measure them in the tube, in the test tube, in vitro. But look here, however, the impact of these immune changes on the health of animals is less clear, and the effect of similar deficiencies on the human immune response has yet to be truly assessed. Science is imperfect, and we still do not have solid evidence on how much of each micronutrient, which isn't, each are important, but how much do we need? So, major ones, right? Primarily, we're looking at antioxidants being extremely important. Other things like turmeric, right? It's an anti-inflammatory. Vitamin D, vitamin E, B12, antioxidant. And I'm going to finish up talking about wine and Mediterranean diet. People always ask me, what's the best diet for you? In my personal opinion, it's the Mediterranean diet, right? So if you're curious, just hop on Google or Amazon and type in Mediterranean diet recipes. It's an investment. It's a healthy diet. It's a healthy diet that's got data behind it, right? So let's talk a little bit about wine. Show of hands, anybody here drink wine? Okay. Red or white? Both? All right. All right. So what do we know about wine? Look, relationship of alcohol consumption and risk of dementia among older adults. Okay. This was a study here. Okay. And here was the objective. They wanted to determine the prospective relationship of alcohol consumption and the risk of dementia in older adults. And this was curious to find out that here on the conclusions, we see that compared to those that abstain from alcohol, the consumption of 1 to 6 drinks per week, not daily, right, per week, is associated with a lower risk of incident dementia among older adults. Look, I always tell people this. If you don't drink, don't start, okay? But if you do so moderately, don't feel bad about it, okay? Because there's actually data to support it. Why, can somebody tell me, why is wine good for you? What is the component inside it? Yes, resveratrol. Yes, beautiful, beautiful. I heard it from two people, resveratrol, right? That's why, here, there's another study, that this is the Rotterdam? Yeah, Rotterdam study, that they looked, again, dementia individuals taking part in the large study, and here's the findings. Light to moderate drinking, 1 to 3 per day, glasses, was significantly associated with lower risk of dementia, and we found no evidence that the relationship between alcohol dementia varied by beverage, white versus red. Why? Why does it not matter whether it's red wine or white wine? Because both of them are made from grapes. So both of them contain resveratrol, right? Vodka does not, right? That comes from potatoes, right? So, yes, sir. It's 1 to 2. I'll show you here. Confidence interval, hazard ratio. I'm looking for the information, the exact answer for you. Odds of incident, neurological, it was 1 to 6 drinks, right? And what was your question again? I'm sorry. Perfect.
How much benefit would one get in the 1 to 6? How much of a benefit is there to that?
If you started, he's asking, okay, if I don't drink, but if I were to drink, right, that benefit that we see in consuming 1 to 6 glasses of wine a week, would you see that now?
How much of a benefit is that? Is it like minuscule or is it significant?
It's significant. It's actually significant. It's measurable, which was a lot. but hold on. At the Cuban, she said, how many grapes would you have to eat to get the same quantity of resveratrol, right? And my response was a lot. But you can actually purchase resveratrol, right? Yes, sir.
What is happening is doing something to the nervous system or to the brain functioning, or exactly what's going on?
Metabolic. There's 2 metabolic pathways, and resveratrol plays into one of them as an ingredient.
Improves the metabolic process?
Of that particular reaction, yes. And I don't want to go into the jargon of it. It's actually part of the research that I do. And resveratrol plays into that very important metabolic pathway. That is important in clearing a lot of junk, right? Including proteins that deposit in the brain, right? Instance, beta amyloid proteins, neurofibrillary tau tangles from Alzheimer's, right? So that particular pathway, one of the fuels of it is resveratrol. Yes, ma'am.
Is there something else that does resveratrol? Because I can't drink as it gives me a stomachache.
Okay. So, so she asked, is there something else that has resveratrol in it? Because I can't drink it. It makes me throw up, right? You mean the little capsules?
No, the wine.
Oh, wine? So don't drink wine. You can have just the resveratrol in capsules. You can get them in GNC or a vitamin shop. You don't have to get them from alcohol. Yes, in the back. double-edged sword, right? Like a catch-22, damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? As for the alcohol and the direct causal effect of cancers in women, right? There's, if you look for the objective evidence on it, objective data, it's still lacking. It's still lacking. Yes. Except for, liver cirrhosis, liver cancer, obviously, right? But linking it to, cancers that are specific to women, whether it's, endometrial or ovarian cancer or breast cancer, I haven't seen any definitive objective evidence behind it yet, right? I'm sure we will at some point, but I haven't seen it yet. Yes, sir. NMN? I don't know.
Sinclair from Harvard,
Yeah.
NMN is one of the supplements he's very interested in.
NMN. I'll tell you what, if you, I always forget this. I'm gonna. You see that white sheet of paper in front of this fine gentleman here? I have your email, by the way, already. But this is a sign-up sheet for our monthly e-newsletter. Okay, I want you to feel completely comfortable writing your name there, if you wish. Okay, it's for the newsletter that I create every month. Your email will not be used for any other reason except that. And I'm the only author of that newsletter. Okay, so we're going to pass it around. Feel comfortable writing your email there. I'd be delighted to share our newsletters with you guys. I'm sure you'll find it very informative. At least I hope you do, right? And to this gentleman, if you would please write your email and just put a star next to it with NMA. I'll research it and I'll get back to you with an answer.
November, Motel, November.
Perfect. Awesome.
Just think of the rock star.
Okay. Any more questions? Yes, sir.
Quick things. Are you going to send us the slides?
I'd be happy to. Just don't make them public. Right, thanks.
Secondly, do you drink wine?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I like wine, white wine better, actually, to be honest with you. Just because you can chill it.
Kind of a follow-up question to what I asked before. You said that if you don't drink, then I wouldn't recommend you do. And yet, you're also saying that there is a benefit to 1 to 6 and it's measurable. Why would you therefore conclude that if you don't, you're better off not to?
Alcohol is a responsibility, right? And unfortunately, some individuals don't know how to judge the responsibility. God forbid you don't drink, you've never drank, and now you're going to start drinking. You don't know how much you can tolerate, so you drink a little bit, and you get buzzed, and then you hop into your car, and you run a red light and kill somebody. It's not worth it.
Except for that. I'm not in that category. Give me another reason.
Everything in moderation, even moderation. Okay. Yeah, some people cannot drink, right? So if you've had an alcohol problem in the past, don't take it up again just because I stood here in front of you and showed you, objective data and evidence to support its use, right? Because in the same way that light to moderate drinking of alcohol can be beneficial, right? We know that moderate to severe abuse has its own consequences, right? And I'll show you this. Look, alcohol consumption, even at moderate levels, is associated with adverse brain outcomes, including hippocampal atrophy. By the way, hippocampus is where we consolidate short-term memories, right? So take any individual who drinks regularly and ask them how their memory is. if they've been drinking for long enough, they will all tell you that their short-term memory is terrible. Why? Because more likely than not, their hippocampus has atrophied, has shrunken, right? So there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. Yes, sir.
Is that reversible?
No. So everything in moderation, right? Even moderation. Can somebody tell me who this gentleman is? Yes, Oscar Wilde. Right? Everything in moderation, even moderation. Awesome. So I just want to say thank you. We went 12 minutes over, but I want to thank you guys for coming out, for being such a great audience. Thanks for sharing your time with me and sharing good old hearty, wholesome laughter together as well. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you all again soon. All right.